Hello, family and friends. My name is Toni Collier. I am originally from Houston, Texas. I just have to say that because it's a big deal, okay? Texas pride all the way. But I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my family. My husband and I, Sam Collier, we pastor Hillsong Atlanta there, and I founded a women's ministry brand called Broken Crayons Still Color. And most importantly of all, I got to be the camp speaker this week for Ignite Camp. Woo! Okay? So much fun. Gosh, we are just actually wrapping up one of our second to last sessions. We're sad. It's bittersweet. But I want to take a minute really quickly just to tell you some of the things that we've learned this week. So speaking of broken crayons, one of the things that I talked with your students about is that broken crayons really do still color. That no matter what we've been through, no matter what we've done wrong and what's been done wrong to us, God still has an incredible plan through us all. I mean, you know this. Our theme this week was move. And it was this idea that God is moving and he's doing something great. But for many of us, for many of our students, for many of the next generation, we unfortunately believe that God's moving without us. But the truth is, God is moving and he's inviting us. And so that's what we wanted to remind these students this week, that there is a mighty move of God, that the kingdom is still strong, that the church is still alive and well. And even better, God wants to use them to keep it going stronger, to keep the kingdom alive, to do everything that we can do to see a generation, to see millions come to Jesus, know him deeply, and that God wants to use them to do it. Then we got practical this week too. I really do believe that it is great and amazing to point Jesus to the feet, to point students to the feet of Jesus. But the truth is they need practical steps. And so we talked about different strategies on hearing the voice of God, how to actually silence themselves and silence that like crazy social media world that they're in, which I love. Hey, no offense, social media, okay? It does great works. But the truth is they are hearing that voice all the time. Social media voices, the voices of friends, good and bad sometimes, the voices of so many different influences in the world. But we needed to remind them that they can hear the voice of God, that they're not too young to somehow just miss what God is doing, that really God wants to speak to them in the here and now. One of the phrases that we used this week was that God's like the player on the sidelines of our lives saying, put me in, coach. I've got some power for your weakness, that where their strength runs out, God's strength begins. But they've got to be willing, and we know this, to seek him out, to hear his voice, to get intentional about blocking everything out, about being quiet enough to hear him, because he's not loud like the other voices. He's gentle, and he's kind, and he's patient, and he's got a whisper available for each and every one of us. Gosh, it's been a good week, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for some of you for getting over your own anxiety and nervousness, for sending your kids after a crazy global pandemic. Thank you to some of you for sacrificing not only your time to be here, to volunteer, but also your money, your finances, to make sure that students have the opportunity to hear that God still wants to use them, that God still wants to speak to them, and that there is a movement and they don't get left behind in it, that they're a part of it just as much as any of us. And so thank you. I'm so grateful that I got to be a part, and we'll see you next time. Have a great Sunday, y'all.